Till here and last night I saw it.
Okay, so the first one, we'll take care of these plats first, because I think they go a little quicker.
Yeah.
Is Sierra Springs.
Sierra Springs number
Tell
3.
us where that is.
Sierra Springs is between Hammond Road and 45th East, north of 41st. That new road that comes in off of, goes through Red Rock and what's the other one? Hatch Hollow.
So it's on the west side.
Yeah.
It's west of Hatch Hollow and north of Red Rock.
Kind of right mid-mile. The master plan will have a way coming out all the way up to 49th North, but it doesn't come out there yet.
Okay with this one? I'll record.
The other one is Ivywood Subdivision. I don't think we have anybody here. It's a little infill project off of Hardy, which is north of First Street, comes off of First Street. Back in off of Kit Lane,
That country corner then.
kind of by Country Corner.
Yeah, this west of Country Corner.
West and north. So it's a little infill project to extend part of Hardy or Kit.
Four lot.
I think Steve Ellsworth might be quicker than the others.
Okay, wait. But go ahead, Steve. What you got?
I don't know how much it gets into land choices, but there's some things that may not be able to discuss this one that's tied up with a potential plat.
What's it about?
So it's about McDonald Acres and
Plat that's not gone all the way through the process yet.
It's a bit through P and Z.
yes, as
Yeah.
approved with essentially meeting road and bridge conditions.
Okay.
So Coulter Yide wide open spaces was approved with this, extend the road 100 feet and do a 10 turnaround. We would like to front on that. Lance is saying that we need to extend it clear down to the southern border, which would be almost another 321 feet. Looking at the ownerships, we've got a Michael Bolander and a Michael Bolander, and this is Cara Vista coming down. So I'm not seeing where Cara Vista is going to want to try to exit onto another arterial road anytime in the near future. So I'm trying to find out, what's the benefit of extending this road to here, and I got to
And this road
Cara Vista here
to
here.
so this little,
This has been dedicated by Coulter Yide of wide open
Right.
spaces, but it's only been dedicated. It's only going to be constructed to this point. So this is McDonald Acres. We were hoping to just front on the same 100-foot that wide open spaces is going to be constructing, and my owner, Scott McDonald, has agreed with Coulter that he would split the cost in order to construct this 100-foot road.
Where's this point on this map?
It's actually just a little bit north. So this line here is the south line of McDonald. So it's probably about right here. Is where that cul-de-sac would be. Because we'd have to extend another 321 feet to get to the south line.
When Colder White came in and did wide open spaces, it was a single lot subdivision. And we did agree, he did agree to dedicate that right away, all the way down, so that the road could be extended in the future. At the point that he talked to me, he said, well, this is only gonna serve us, ever gonna serve us, probably never gonna extend anywhere. And at that point in time, we said, okay, well, we can meet the requirements, planning and zoning, have a 100-foot frontage by extending the road 100 foot and allowing Coulter to build his house on that one lot. Now there's a second lot coming in. They can't access because they have, through a rezone, they have to do a subdivision plat. Through the subdivision plat, they can't get access to the arterial road directly.
Who? McDonald.
This McDonald.
He bought the property with no division
and has
rights.
that been through?
The rezone has been completed.
That's what
yes.
this
all
one
the way
is
down.
about. So he can't access the arterial to the west because of the subdivision ordinance. So the only access he has is right now on Cara Vista. But if we don't extend Cara Vista to the south end, at such point as Cara Vista or somebody further south wants to extend, I don't have any way to go back and make these people pay up money for it. So it's a developer-driven issue with how these roads access future land.
We used to do that quite a bit a long time ago, and it came back to bite us so many times. And I'm not aware that I've agreed to do any for quite a while, because then you get into that same fight. You come back and they've got to build it later.
So if that was the case, then I was gonna come back to possibly this. So Coulter Yides dedicated all this completely down. At the current length from the point of intersection to the end of the road is 325.54 feet. Essentially, if we just made that a cul-de-sac, we'd be 25 feet out of compliance with a cul-de-sac. Is that a possible option?
It still doesn't get this road built for the.
At that point, I would probably come in and I have no feelings that Coulter would disagree that vacating this dedicated right of way to the south.
Now that we can't talk about because you've already dedicated the state vacating a public right of way, so you'd have to have a hearing on
Okay.
that. And to do that, you have to make sure it doesn't cut off any access that's already there to other properties. Right. Create a situation where they can't access their property.
Well, obviously, at this point in time, no one else is accessing a dedicated
At this
road that's
point in
not
time.
built.
At this point in time,
So my third option, I was gonna maybe come back, and it kind of does still come back to the vacation. But if we're at 325.54, if I was to extend Cara Vista, another 7476. That would put 400 feet from PI to radius point. I get this plat recorded with the actual in compliance cul-de-sac, and then at a later date come back to vacate what Coulter's dedicated.
Again, you're talking about a possible vacation, and I don't know that this doesn't bode well for future land to the south of here that may or may not try to get to, so we
Yeah.
can't.
That's something we're gonna have to.
Well, I guess my question is who are we serving?
Well,
Bolander's got
okay,
we don't
400
know.
foot of frontage.
We're getting way into the vacation of your properties and everything. You're gonna have to
So
file it.
the other option that we talked about is coming off with a private small street off of the arterial road and replatting this from off the west. We come in with a private road off of that, and that will be the access from McDonald rather than Cara Vista. What did he say about the potential of platting it like that and having a private road on that side?
He said that he would basically have to look into the cost of doing something like that to see if it's still even feasible. Where this is a one lot subdivision plat.
But so was Coulter's, a one lot subdivision.
Doesn't
So
sound like
with the
McDonald's has as deep as pockets as Coulter.
Well, that's nothing we look at,
Right.
because this is one lot, McDonald's is one lot, there's gonna be one lot on the next one lot. Well, that's where it gets difficult. One thing we have done, I have to be convinced, is you basically in the development agreement, let them build to that point, but if there's ever a need, build it or put some lien on their property. We had that happen, if you remember, up at Sweeter Acres. And 25 years later, they had all forgotten about that they had a commitment to do it, and that was a mess.
So you're saying McDonald would be on the hook to construct Coulter's dedicated road?
No, whoever would be obligated to construct that road now.
I don't believe that was ever in Coulter's development agreement.
It wasn't in Coulter's development agreement because, again, the way he presented it was this is only going to serve him and ever going to serve him and never going to serve anybody else. But we couldn't get through the extension of the road without the dedication there as a future road right away.
I don't think we can go back on that. And I mean, Coulter's already kind of cemented the options there
Well,
with that. And I would not be in favor of putting something to obligate in 25 years if it ever develops to go back. It's just so hard to go back in time.
It's hard when the property sells and most
Yeah.
people don't know.
It
Or
turns
you're trying
over.
to stick somebody or
Well,
something.
that's
I don't
what
know. I'm sure that was the Sweeter case because
Oh, yeah.
you see that happen often with those.
Yeah.
you were probably, were you around for that?
No, but heard of it.
Boyd Cox. And
Yeah.
That's the situation I'm trying to avoid, where something is on the books for 20 years or 30 years. And then
Those never work.
So who, assuming somebody comes in beyond that, who's on the hook to build the road in that right of way? The next lot owner?
well, the next lot owner or whoever wants to access the extension of Cara Vista would have to pick up from where it ends, where I'm saying at the south end of McDonald's property, and take it from there further. And that's going to be a problem at some point in time too, but hopefully because it's a dedicated right of way, we can get through that.
You're kind of losing, what's he obligated to build now?
So I believe he is obligated, McDonald is obligated to build from where Coulter left off to his south property line.
McDonald is.
Yes,
His half of the whole road.
the whole road.
By the whole road.
Well, because none of it is in there and Coulter White did not have an obligation in his development agreement to pay for his half of the road. All he was required to do was plat to dedicate the right of way. In his development agreement, he wasn't on the hook to build half the road when it was extended.
Coulter, he built 100 feet of an entire road.
Yes, he was required to build as part of his wide open acres, 100 foot. Now he's tried to get McDonald to pay for half of his 100 foot. But that's.
On the
that's side
condition we
agreement.
would front on the same 100 foot.
Yeah. That's not what Coulter started with. Coulter was supposed to pay for the whole 100 foot.
But if Kohler paid for the 100 foot, then McDonald would be obligated to pay for the 200 feet.
321.
Only because it's an additional 300.
It's an additional.
Yeah, this is 421 feet and we're only building 100 feet. So it'd be 321 feet of road to get to there that McDonald's gonna be solely responsible for. Plus dedication of 55th, and planting trees on every 20 or 40 foot, 30 foot centers along for
Yeah,
planting
there's some stuff in the.
in the rezone requirements.
Yeah.
Just, uh,
It was only ever supposed to be for wide,
Yeah.
over wide. I mean,
Well, in the future, I think we need to make sure whatever they represent is gonna change in the future.
Yeah.
And just have the standard.
Because the hard thing is McDonald comes in and builds that 300 feet. Well, Coulter can come in, try to rezone, and he can get a whole bunch of additional lots without any infrastructure cost.
Right.
So it does have benefit to Coulter if that road is built, and
Well, but
I guess
you
if,
could do some.
if something happened there, you could do some reimbursement.
Well, there's
well,
no
Coulter would have to replat too.
Yeah.
And
But we've seen development agreements where they could be reimbursed if it was ever added. I think you're dealing with one down there.
yeah,
So
south.
I think that could be an option that if
Coulter was ever. to do
changes were made or additional lots were added, that he would then pay in for what the cost of that infrastructure was.
Sounds a bit more reasonable.
Yeah, it does.
Is there measures in
Yeah.
place for something like this?
Yeah, I could work through it with you. We've seen others.
We've got a template that's down by the Smith Group. And we're just working through
we're working
development.
Yeah.
agreements.
And it's becoming more and more common in a lot of cities, and they're all utilizing the same thing because of similar issues. So,
Right.
Just want to avoid another Schweeter Lane,
I understand.
which was never built.
And that's why I was wondering if we were to basically redo this, because this road is yet to be constructed and come back and replat this as the 74, 76 cul-de-sac. Now it can't go anywhere else and it's still an in compliance cul-de-sac.
and you'd have to, that's where you'd have to go through the vacation hearing first. You can't really talk about that at this point.
That is an option if I was to,
You
Get
can
him.
try for that, yeah.
would that basically be putting Coulter in a position where he's not gonna be getting a buildable? He's essentially got his
puts it
building.
non-compliant because it's,
Yeah,
Yeah, we can't
let's
talk
let you
about
work
that.
with Lance.
You can talk to me about that. We can work through the ins and
Tell you
outs of what
it
that
does to
would
them in the future,
do.
and then you can
So-
decide.
So with this option, I'm understanding I either build the road or I have the option of possibly bringing in my own cul-de-sac then.
Yeah. You could replat and go that route.
Would I need to go back through planning if I was to do this route?
Yes, because the
Yes.
road changes location.
We'll have the dedicated driveway.
Yeah. On there, what road is that?
That'd be 55th.
Yeah, you'd have to, you're dealing with the dedication on 55th and your
well, you're
access
dealing with the
points.
dedication anyway.
Yeah.
Would I
but-
be looking at constructing any additional right of way at 55th?
No,
Okay. I think that's about all my options. Okay.
Okay,
Appreciate it.
well, come see me. We'll work through the rest of those and
Will do.
see what makes sense.
Time you get back.
About 11-ish.
All right.
But I've got an appointment at 11, so maybe if you want to sneak by this afternoon,
Probably after lunch then.
yeah, just come over, we'll chat.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah.
Still got it for 73. Really? Still getting up there, but we still think it'll be super low by the end of the year. American Falls is going down. So, 62, and not so much, downstream. Want their water. Yeah, but, how we've got Jackson's. Jackson's really low. So, just flood the water got there, which I don't get because it really built Palisades up. So, this I did. Straight across over out here.
Oh, it's right here, Roger.
Oh, okay.
Hey.
Commissioners, how you doing?
Good.
This one kind of caught me off guard. I know that when we connect and we're adjacent to major arterials, 65th or 15th West or whatever, we improve those half the road and do the turn lanes, what's called for, but to go head on into somebody else's property and be required to rebuild a road, caught me off guard. Maybe this one down here. We've got Ivywood. We got 5th West. This is Ivywood Division 3. And you've got 5th West, which the developer has improved, widened all the way out, looks great. There's going to be other divisions coming down here to connect into 15th West. Of course, this is a platted subdivision, Cotton View Estates. And it was platted by someone not affiliated with Rockwell whatsoever. It was 1992 was platted.
The first one.
The first one.
City or county.
That's
County.
county.
Yeah.
Division rights.
See that?
That was platted on division rights.
So it was a county,
I'll just do the schemes.
and it
I'll
was
pull
living
it up
lots
here.
and stuff like that. And then there was one lot added to it in a second
We can
phase
just plug Austin.
that went
You want to plug it?
I'll just join the meeting and share.
south property line of this.
That works too.
Do I need to wait or?
No, go ahead.
Go ahead, I'm just.
We'll get
pulling
there.
it up, So.
And I think we met with the city, but I guess I better introduce you. The main reason this is that we brought on board Angel Gonzalez. I just wanted to introduce you to him. He did the traffic for this area. We
So the
basically
traffic study hasn't been finalized.
not
So
finalized,
we're still working on it.
but In the traffic study, though, virtually there's very little traffic on 81st south. And we have, in our traffic study, we're showing basically 0 AM, 0 PM traffic going this way. You know, unless someone wants to go into Compton View Estates to visit someone, we don't see really anyone traveling this way. But when we met with the city, they do want to bond. We didn't want to put the bridge in yet until this road is continued. Lance indicated the developer needed to install a road. It's never been built. That makes no sense to me
It's
too.
platted right away.
But for Rockwell to do someone else's platted development makes no sense to me, especially where there's no traffic expected.
I understand this last lot in here has not been platted.
Correct.
Yeah,
But the other side has.
The other side has is one
Yeah.
lot.
yeah.
Yep.
But we're, you know, we discussed, and I think
I think we decided we're gonna, we might even construct the bridge now, because it might be cheaper. to
But-
construct,
yeah, but
But just.
it really doesn't make sense to me to either that or bond for half the
So,
bridge. But
so on west, on 8th West, in the meeting with the city of Idaho Falls, I agreed that if you constructed the bridge, that the road wouldn't have to be constructed all the way down to 8th.
Correct.
So I agreed with that is because there is one side that has not been platted. And if they came in with a plat to do that, they would have to extend it from the bridge south to the existing road.
and it really should be this developer here doing that road anyway, I would think, so.
That's
Um,
why I agreed to do it.
Yeah. And that's good with us. You know, I know the city's, you know, bonding amount for bridges are a lot higher than what it costs to actually build a bridge, so.
And that's where I was agreeable, if you build the bridge and get it over the thing, then we can deal with that.
And we can do that. We built, yeah, we did this one. And so we are getting ready to, we've got, there was another engineering firm that relocated this canal for Rockwell. And they installed a bunch of checks and pipes for farmers downstream. And I'm not saying anything bad about the other engineer. We'd have probably done the same thing, but the farmers couldn't get water that it was designed. So we ripped everything out, redesigned all the checks, the piping, and it's working great now. But in doing that, we increased the water level, which required an additional 1.5 foot of canal bank. This road was paved in Division 3, not knowing that. So we've got to, the developers got to remove pavement from this PC here up to the bridge. So that will be taking place right away. So we'll have access coming in this way to do construction, but then backing up, moving forward with these other 9th West is part of this subdivision. 12th West will be the next, probably the next, and then Da Vinci. I think that was a city, these two are county, but, and then we've got
Mon City, because there was farm access in there, the city built the road.
Yeah, Da Vinci.
Or whoever built the road.
Yeah, I don't know a lot of the history, but, and then we'll have Montezuma eventually connect into 15th West. So we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 access points. Our peak AM trips on 9th West in our study show it to be at full build out 59 trips in the AM, 34 trips in the PM. 12th is a little bit higher. We've got 102 estimated peak hour trips in the AM, 64 in the PM. Da Vinci's the same as what we had on 9th. So there is traffic. Montezuma, it's estimated to be around 60 in the AM, 40 in the PM. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 exit points total. the subdivision. But on 9th West, for right now, we're told to, and this was built with the 9, 3, and 2 cross section.
Cross-section at the time.
So
I don't
it's
know.
got a- It's got a good base.
Yeah, it's got a good base. I mean, it's
It
probably
should
as
have
good
a
or
good
better than 65th. What we would like to do is we're putting curb and gutter in. Again, this is dedicated public right of way. It's owned by the, the public, and the county has taken over the maintenance of it. What we'd like to do is just flare back into the existing pavement, but we're being told that we have to tear all of that pavement out and rebuild it to current city or county standards. That's 950 feet. And that'll set the precedence for 12th as well. So we're thinking, 65th is, these roads were built probably as good or better than 65th. Why make this developer tear out something that the county is taking maintenance over?
I don't think it's a matter of necessarily having to tear it out if the base is built that it can be tested.
Yeah.
Is it?
Well, and that's, we did talk about that option of going in and seeing what is there and seeing whether it met the standard that was done.
But you looked up on the old plans. It was
So
built
the
with
old
9, 3,
plan
and
that
2.
was built with 9, 3, and 2, which was the standard at the time. Now it's 2 and, 12 inches of pit run, 6 inches of 3/4, and 2 inches of asphalt.
That old base was a pretty good base. And I don't know how, I don't have the plans for that or know how that was constructed. It was constructed with the drainage swells. I don't know if it was flat or it had percentage, but if this developer had to rebuild that road and put in curb and gutter, it would be
I
a
don't think
nightmare.
there's been any talk about curb and gutters, just the strength.
Okay,
and
we
the
were
safety.
told curb and gutter.
So when we talked about that, you're extending from curb and gutter. And I said that I would look at the options of whether we need to do curb and gutter or not. But the existing lots in there have over 200 foot of frontage.
Yeah.
And so in a normal subdivision in the county today, they would be required to put in curb and gutter.
Okay. Because that would be, that would be a total design of taking a flat road and putting
Right.
slopes to it, not matching driveways very well. But if
So
it's,
you're
if
still
it-
flaring down because the roadways in this subdivision are gonna be wider than 28-foot asphalt, correct?
yes, yeah, they're 40.
So you're still
43
gonna be necking down
curb to back.
to a 28-foot wide road going through this.
Let's see.
Which road
We'd
is
have,
that?
we'd have 38 foot of
Nine.
asphalt. We'd have
That's
38
nine.
foot of asphalt and would flare it in, would extend it out and flare it into that 28, would have a nice wide flare. And that's what
And
we'd
that's
like
what
to
I'm
do.
talking about, is rebuilding the road from where they neck down out to 65th.
We don't want to, I mean, why do we build it if it's a good road?
Well, that's the question.
Yeah.
Is it a good road? Tested.
Yeah, but if it was built with the 9, 3, and
Probably
2,
had inspection reports, don't you?
if it was built in
Action.
with the 9, 3, and 2, it should have and the county's had maintenance of that for ever since it was,
Well, there's
built in
9 homes
93.
on it. There's 9 homes on it. And so as far as doing anything on that night, we haven't had to do anything because there's hardly any traffic.
Yeah, roadways need traffic. I mean, yeah,
They need traffic.
they do need traffic.
Why?
It just, it actually keeps them in better shape. If you don't use a road, you get trees and different things growing up through there. There's a road up in Panorama that was built by the county that had a tree growing up through it.
Entertained by that one. You were here when that was approved, weren't you?
Yeah, I think so.
Come in.
No, roads are built for traffic. I mean, they're meant for the traffic that's
Well, but I don't,
And it's the
think
maintenance
that's-
of every 7 years of doing a chip seal on them.
I was gonna say the chip seal probably takes care of the,
Yeah,
rather than the traffic, sealing them off for.
but they do require maintenance.
What was the standard Crestwood was built to?
I don't know for sure, but I believe it was probably the same standard as what Ninth was.
Crestwood line?
Not familiar with Crestwood.
Here's the problem, when you don't have a final approval on this from the
Right.
city.
Right.
How are you building?
The only
this?
thing we're waiting for on the city is basically the plans are approved. We're waiting for the traffic impact study to be finalized. This was their punch list, the final plat. And the bridge either bonded or built.
So how are you starting on this project without final approval out there?
Um,
Aren't you turning-
We're not starting. We haven't started anything yet. The farmer is farming out here. The developer has a contractor that would like to bring supplies in. We can't start without DEQ approval. So, but he just wants to get supplies in here. But with the blockaded access here, and with the issues that are going on, we opted to just stay out. The contractor's got trucks out there. He doesn't want to bring them off site.
Can't come in on the,
Well, like I said, we've got to build this up. This asphalt has to be removed. And it's got to be built up to meet the bridge grade.
Right now, he's coming in off of Da Vinci.
which is a city street.
Yeah, so that's right now where they kind of started coming in, but it's about a half mile away.
So it hasn't been finally, this phase hasn't received final approval. You're still waiting.
Generally, once we receive DEQ approval, the contractor can start doing underground
We
utilities.
have like city sewer approval, city water approval. They've done all done their inspections and everything.
When you first started talking to the city, did you guys have any consultation on what we could, because this road standard is changed?
No,
Well,
Lance sent the email thread to us, but Lance has been communicating with the city for over a year, but we haven't
and-
been included in that.
Well, that's part of the issue. The city is just going in. I think we sent the email thread. You were in here before, out of fairness, to let you know that we had been communicating this, and they should have been working with the developers. And we were getting the impression that they did not in the beginning. And then all of a sudden, the city gives the approval, knowing what the standard is. And then it puts us in an awkward spot. I mean, we're not trying to kill this. You raise a question on, can you block access to we're not blocking access to that farmer. You're changing use. You know, when you're talking a handful of trips a day versus 50 or 60, that's a big enough increase. We don't know, what that's going to cause, but we've had the experience with Crestwood, some of the others, and it's a practice we've tried to get the city to work with us on.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I know the
So, yeah,
problems that the county has had with the city and,
And we met
you know,
with all the city officials and Lance last week.
Okay, but that was last week, and this has been going
No,
on for a year.
what I'm saying is we
You know.
met with them to get everybody on the same page.
Right.
I get it. This is
I know.
totally new to all of us. And that's even what the city said is, city said, this is, you've never done, they even admitted they misinterpreted Lance's comments.
Well, and, that is accurate.
Yeah,
They've never
'cause-
done that.
Yeah, and so they.
because I've never
they were
seen
just
this.
dumbfounded. They had
I've never
no
seen
clue what
this
was going on.
They had a clue what was going on, because Lance had been telling them, and that's where I get
But
frustrated.
misinterpreted, yes.
That's the reason he sent it out. And I told Lance, I said, send this out in an email so you've got record of it, because he talked several times. And what we're looking for is a cooperative effort to get these things done with you know, the city should understand what the county is requiring and bring the developers in early so that we don't get caught in these situations
Yeah.
and then afterwards,
Yeah.
you know, here we are saying, well, we didn't understand that, you know, because
No,
we've heard that way too many times. And that's why we finally had to take a stand on something that says, look, you hate to have to force cooperation,
yeah.
but that's kind of what we feel like we're having to do. it's
And it just
unfortunate.
seems like the fight's more between city, county. I mean, the
Well-
city brings in these, annexes the property in, but they don't take over the road networks.
And it's not so much, that is the result that
Yeah.
we hope to get to. That's not going to be solved quickly.
Mhm.
But it's in the early planning process, they just make mostly assumptions.
Mhm.
And I've seen their actions go both ways. I've seen them take these roads and annex them, which is one option that they have, but they don't want to apparently. I've seen them, I don't know if you remember the one on Maulani. The city refused to hook into Maulani because it was a substandard road and it wasn't safe. So on South Point, they put those barricades that are supposed to be collapsible for the fire to get through, because all the firemen came in and said, we've got to be able to get there. Well, those didn't work because they froze in. And so now it's a permanent barricade. There was one other like that that the city would not take because they're substandard.
Yeah.
And now we've seen that. We've seen these type on the several, I just mentioned it out there off Sunnyside.
Crest.
And some of those, so we've got a whole variety. And then, the city said, well, we do get the developer. We can't require a developer in a development agreement to do anything outside the city limits. And we did on Providence Point. And their reason for that as well, because that property fronts an arterial. That's their assumption and interpretation, which was different, and that was a fight. So we've got that one where they have done the opposite of what you've said, or what we're hearing here is we can't require the developer to do anything outside of the subdivision. And then they've got the impact fees. How many additional homes is this going to be out here that are going to be affected by the impact fees?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, I don't recall right off.
it's 170 acres.
Over
total.
500, isn't it?
Probably.
Okay, 500. What's the impact fee for roads specifically,
No, they
It's
don't,
like 2,800 or somewhere in that
Okay.
of the whole amount, but
So that's 1.4 million.
See, they're gonna collect 1.4 million in impact fees for roads. And they say, well, we can't use those outside the city limits. Well, I'll point to another deal called Costco. When they came in, we weren't willing to waive the standards for safe entrances, distance, so they annexed it and put it closer to the intersection than the standards allow. That's fine, they can do that. But they collected impact fees for improvement, that the impact that was putting on some of the surrounding areas. One was a cul-de-sac at Iona. Because, so they collected enough to install a turn lane, and the other was a turn lane up on 26. So, you can show I hope you can understand where we're sitting and being
No,
frustrated today.
I understand. This just took us by surprise because we weren't included in that chain. And then when
Yeah.
when the contractor called and says, hey, I'm blocked off, I can't get equipment in or out. And
Pull the map down just a little bit. Where's the city annex property?
The light blue shaded there.
Yeah, I see that, but how far north? Can you go pull the map down a little
I've got to
bit?
go back because I just took a screenshot of it.
It's just, all these problems are avoided if they kind of annex out, right? I mean, if they would annex that property and just take it.
Well, this isn't the only, I mean, we hit this every time. I mean, there's times where Ammon and ITD and the county, we have this going on with 4 different jurisdictions, but this one just kind of took us by surprise because we're normally hitting the arterials, but to come in and,
Well,
at
and
the
on
beginning
this
of
one-
this,
On this one, they're not hitting the arterial because
Where
it
it's
doesn't,
shaded.
it doesn't front on 65th.
Oh,
If this subdivision had fronted on 65th,
would be improving.
There'd be a lot of stuff,
65th,
but-
yeah.
it doesn't front on 65th, but all of this traffic is going to be on 65th. And I didn't have a way to say, you need to do stuff on 65th, although my comments to the city of Idaho Falls, as this was being annexed and brought up for preliminary stuff, is like, what about the impacts on 65th?
And they tell Lance that we'll deal with it in the development agreement, and then it never materializes.
Because again, they're not fronting on 65th, although all of this traffic is gonna be using 65th.
But it will go to 65th, no matter what that road size is on 9/12.
Well, I understand that.
Yeah, well, full build out, you're gonna see, I don't know, 200 or 300 cars a day on 9th, probably more than that on 12th. Da Vinci, you'll see about the same as 9th. And then you'll also have the
Well,
15th West.
And that's why we included that in our standard, because a full build out, that is an impact to the developer. And, this is a more compact, direct example, because the traffic is going to be generated by your subdivision when it's built out. And then pretty quick, we have 2 Crestwoods in there that aren't safe. That's what we're trying to avoid.
Well, and the problem is, correct me if I'm wrong, is the damage to the road to 9th, if it ends up like Crestwood, is gonna happen during the build out. Not a full build out to 200 cars. That's not gonna be a problem. It's gonna be the hundreds of trucks, heavy
We can
loads
come
in
in
and
off of Da
out.
Vinci for construction,
Well,
if that's your worry. We
Well,
can
but
come
you're
off of
still
Da
gonna
Vinci.
have someone to build it on the 200 cars a day on a narrow road like that. One thing you mentioned last time we talked is questioning whether the county had the authority, or maybe that was. the
Well,
city's
I
attorney.
can't, yeah.
The city's attorney, I take it back, you didn't, whether we had the authority to close public right away.
Yeah.
We've got a whole history of closing roads for maintenance and safety. We just had one up on 15th North, and we had to put a gate on because the operator up there kept driving through that before. It cost us $70,000 to put that back together each year. So we just said that we're gonna close it until it's safe for me.
Yeah, I just didn't think you could go out and landlock somebody without letting them know prior.
This
That-
isn't really
that was a
landlocked,
surprise.
actually, yeah, because you've got other accesses, and historically, if you look back on the areas, these have had very little use for access to the farm because
Totally
it
understood.
was a circle.
The contractor's not looking at a lot of trips. We've got a lift station, we've got a
But the
lot of
traffic,
gravel, yeah.
Once it's built out, see, you're talking going from probably
Yeah,
10 trips a day, maybe 20 to over 200.
The road was built for that.
I was gonna say, those light vehicles aren't gonna cause the damage, are they? I'm more
Yeah.
concerned
The
about the
trucks-
construction
the
traffic.
construction is, we've got this, there's a lot of gravel out here. And we're gonna use a lot of the gravel out of the storm pond and we're just trying to get the contractor rolling
Okay.
right now.
I know,
We do that.
yeah, it's unfortunate that we're where we are. We
I
didn't
know.
intentionally put you in this
Yeah.
way, but we're here to try to find a way to work together to get it done. But that's gonna need to include some work with us on behalf of the city. And I think they should contribute part of those impact fees. How many million?
1.4 was the number.
And that's in like, obviously that's, once we develop everything out.
Yeah.
In the next 15, 20 years, that's a lot of
How many
But
lots
yes,
in this
that's true.
subdivision?
Yeah,
It's gonna take a while.
it will take us a while to get there.
Yeah, see, this is gonna be a whole other mess that you're gonna have to solve in here, because I know, is it Preston Walker that owns that one piece of property, this lot on the end?
I don't know, 60 or so.
Anyway.
60 or 70 lots.
You know, that could not get built out for a lot of years until that happens, but let's go back to the improvements on these. You're looking at 500 feet on one.
On this one,
nine-
it's about 900 and something feet.
950 feet, I think, yeah, 950 linear
Okay.
feet.
Without curb and gutter. I know you're thinking that because you can provide drainage, enough drainage swale in there. But to establish drainage swale and just widen the width to where it's safer to pass through there. And if you came in and the base was solid enough and just put down a mat, because that strengthens, like we talked about up at Panorama Hills. You know, that was one of the things they could do to strengthen the road and the surface to where, you know, because the traffic on that, that's what Crestwood ended up being. It wasn't construction traffic, it's when the city hooked onto that. It just went.
Well,
It just wasn't
construction
used.
Traffic
Yeah.
of the houses being built behind it, all the heavy dump trucks, all the concrete trucks,
Was it?
all the delivery trucks. Most of that damage occurred from the heavier trucks. But then it continues. with
Once you
the
start
daily
breaking
traffic.
it up, then.
I don't know that
traffic's gonna
zone.
do it.
I don't know how it was built. I do know that when I was with the county, we tried to do a little bit on Crestwood up towards Sunnyside. And those people wouldn't have it.
The problem is Kip Manwaring was the last holdout on Sunnyside, was gonna kill the whole project.
His,
Because of timing, and he, through our attorney, negotiated a deal where the county would not improve that road, so we couldn't.
yeah, we met with several people. in
We
that
told the
area.
city that,
Yeah,
and they went ahead and hooked it on anyway.
yeah, we met with several people and we were kicked out of homes. I met with the right-of-way agent. We had a right-of-way agent, Chuck Boyd. And we were kicked out of homes they did not want help with their roads. But the one home in particular, we were called out on a Saturday, I think, and the whole family was chained to trees. They didn't want the trees to come out, so I called Blake, the attorney. We met out there. And it was a nightmare, but
Okay, but back,
back to this
Back to
though, we
this.
I know
would,
one bank attorney.
I don't know, a bit of history. It's kind of.
okay, but if the base was solid and they didn't do construction, instead of a BST, they just laid down a mat.
So if I'm getting you right, if we can show that the base is actually 9 inches and we put a new mat over the top of the existing.
What would that cost?
I don't know.
we'd have to core it, but
What's a mat? I don't know if I know what that is. Sorry.
Asphalt.
asphalt pavement over the top.
Asphalt over asphalt.
Yeah, because we do a BST, which is, you know what those are, there are a couple shots of oil with gravel on top of it.
Okay.
It doesn't carry the load here. You know, the asphalt will help spread the load and avoid
I
that.
gotcha. Okay.
So what I'm hearing is if they core it, we do have 9 inches of,
I'm just
Good
thinking out
base.
loud.
yeah,
So,
and we put a 2-inch mat over the top of the existing oil or the existing asphalt out to 65th. That's what I'm hearing, is that,
I think so. I mean, you're still gonna have the problem of the narrow road with the higher,
could you add a foot or two on each side of that?
well, it's gonna take construction to do that.
You'd have to cut
it
the
would probably
asphalt.
take construction to do that because the base wasn't meant to be outside of the existing 28.
If you did just the asphalt overlay, is that better than that? Been calling it a map.
No, either way.
Yeah, no,
Overlay.
that related. But I'm good with it. Now that I know what that is.
It's a new word.
It's a
Yeah.
generational.
Yeah, that's perfect.
28
I know what it is
foot
now.
28-foot width asphalt is not bad.
You know, and that's where I'm at is, you know, if that'll save the road, that'd be fine. I can just tell you, we'll end up getting complaints from those neighbors that live along there with all that traffic.
Oh,
The
yeah.
road gets narrow, seems narrower with the higher
It
traffic
is
count.
narrow.
And
It
we're
is
gonna
narrow.
get complaints.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, then you're in a spot where that road should have been widened to standards, but nobody was willing to step up and pay for it, to do it right the first time. And someday down the road, when other people are sitting in this room, somebody's gonna complain that we didn't do it right the first time.
There's a lot of roads that were built with the drainage swells.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the drainage swell isn't what he's talking about. He's talking about the width.
Oh, I know that.
So
It keeps traffic slow,
Kind of
28 feet.
Kind of seems like we learned on drainage swales, and you guys might have been involved early when we used to do the drainage swales. Found out they were a mess, so we started requiring curb and gutter.
Yeah.
So things do change over time.
Now, we are gonna build like a pit run type road from Da Vinci. I think they've actually started building that for construction.
most of it's there
And
as of 2 weeks ago.
And we can do our part in trying to help dictate, like, I don't know if somebody wants us to put a sign up in their yard, but like construction access off Da Vinci, or we can try and help.
Well, Da Vinci's a city street.
And that's what I'm saying, we can try and off of 9, if someone would let us put a
Well,
sign up.
that's where we could keep the road closure until the construction was done.
Yeah.
And funnel the construction traffic either off Da Vinci or this one to the east.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
I
could use
agree.
both. Yeah,
I'm
Da
okay with
Vinci's about a
trying to
half
help do
mile,
something.
west, but that's where we could come in with construction. And then
maybe we
as
can
well
repair
as,
that sooner than later. I think they were trying to do that just at the same time they're doing everything,
yeah, and as
But-
well use this other,
but maybe we just need to get that done quicker, so we just come in.
What's your cost of putting the asphalt down, just the asphalt part of the bids when they come in?
For the 900 feet.
No, for what you're getting.
Oh. That's been out
oh,
there.
yeah, we haven't put that, I haven't put an
How much
engineer's
is
estimate
asphalt?
together.
How
yet.
much is asphalt per square foot?
You're right now, we're probably about $3 a square foot.
Okay, $3 a square foot times 28 foot wide.
28 foot
950
wide,
times
950
28.
foot long.
How many square feet is that?
28 times 900. Did I hear you right? 25,200 times, what'd you say? Three?
So
So
76,000, yeah.
The longer one would be about 75,000. The shorter, 500 foot, would be half that.
Is that something that would be,
I would,
We just,
You're
that's over
still-
here, so
you're still gonna have the requirements, for the arterial, probably an acceleration and deceleration light based on those
That's in the traffic study.
from the traffic study. This is just,
it's just these two, 9th and 12th. Yeah.
Have you asked the city about annexing them?
is that what?
We did, and their attorney was in
What's
that
that?
meeting, and
Chair.
he immediately said,
Let's get my
it
calculator.
looked like it was legal, but then he started backtracking, I don't know.
Oh, did,
I didn't understand that.
We
I don't
tried
know.
to mention in that meeting.
Well,
It was
I'm not gonna
discussed.
get in the middle of that. I'm just thinking, you're talking about cost to improve. Well, if the city annexes them, then hey, if we improve these, can we get some credit towards our impact fees? Because I know they do that. If you build the roadway, they'll give you a certain amount of credit back towards your impact fees. It's just another option, but
it is, but it might be an option that would drag them out to where it
Yeah,
kills
that's
this
true.
project for a while, which
Yeah,
we're not trying to do that.
we appreciate it.
But I mean, that is an option. And yes, they can annex it.
Yeah,
We've seen a whole bunch of questionable annexations
Yeah,
that.
And we haven't seen those, so we don't, we asked them that question in that meeting, and it wasn't,
When they went out to get Costco and the way they did that, I mean, there was some point to point with gaps and things like that. If somebody would have challenged, they would have lost.
Yeah.
But that's not our role to
Gotcha.
challenge the city on whatever they're doing. They make assumptions on what they think we'll do. I guess we have to make our assumptions on what we think they'll do based based on what they've done in the past, which I can't tell you.
Yeah.
You know, because they're all over the board.
Somehow we've got to help the city understand too, for long-term, that before they approve this type of a subdivision, you know, they got to consider the access through county roads to get there and the
Well-
impact on them. And they haven't been willing to consider that.
And that's why we sent the letter and took this position, because it was finally time to kind of bring it to a head. Unfortunately, that catches you guys in it too, but you know, this should have been a conversation at the beginning of this
Yeah.
project with all three.
Yeah, I
instead of
agree.
now.
Yeah, the first we'd heard about that was when the
Looks the
truck
same
was
as my normal
fixed out there,
boundary.
so.
That we heard about it. I understand Lance has talked to the city, but
Yeah,
to,
We are having a city council meeting in September. And it's going to be on the area of impact and annexation of roads, because it's our turn to set the agenda. We're not allowed to put anything on their agenda unless it's approved by the mayor.
oh, really?
Yeah, so this will be our
So you
topic,
get
so
yours.
we're concerned,
Yeah.
you know.
Have fun.
And it's one thing if we go into a project knowing what we need to do. And going forward, if we touch one, that's obviously a conversation that we now will have. We're all aware of it and what the stance is now that Quantico County will hold.
So what are possibilities on these two for right now? Is that something you would accept if we, you know, went with, what is it,
If
3
we
inch?
went with the 2-inch overlay
2-inch.
on 9 for this subdivision, I would love to have a core and make sure that we have a 9-inch base, but if we have a 9-inch pit run, if we get a 2-inch overlay, I would consider that we would be good to go. So
Okay, now is your $3 a foot a 2 or a 3-inch overlay?
That would be
Sorry,
two.
Two.
Yeah,
all of this is,
I think that's something I'm just saying, I feel like we can do that. It's a lot better than ripping out a road. And
Oh, yeah.
so, I mean, we went from here to here, and so I do feel like, I mean, we want to help. And I think that costs for as many lots as we'll be doing in there, we can definitely do it. If that's something that the county would accept.
Sounds like a good compromise.
I think it does.
Saves the road.
And if we won't be impeding on all those people's, I was most nervous, like honestly, about talking to those 9 people and having them just hate me. And I just knew, I was like, I can't have that.
Oh, they already do.
They already-
I don't know.
I'm sure they hate me already.
That
but
wouldn't go over well.
More, they hate me
I guarantee
more
it.
because I have to dig up their grass.
So I take from that we could never talk you into running to be county commissioner.
I don't think I could do that because you gotta make some people mad.
And they do get mad too.
Yeah, they just,
Oh,
yeah,
I've never seen anything like Crestwood or Sunnyside. We've had, that was,
They say you'll
the
grow into it.
negotiations were something.
what was
else.
that?
They say you'll grow into
They
it.
say you grow through it.
No, you guys are okay,
So-
I'm okay with that.
The only thing I haven't heard for sure is we're gonna core it to make sure we've got, I don't know what the cost of doing that is. Is that a big
few
deal?
$100 to do a couple cores, see what we've
Can we
got.
do that just so we know?
We'll do
what we've
the
got?
course, so we're confident.
I can arrange that. I don't know how fast I can get somebody out there to do the core.
See, and that's the frustrating thing, and I think you're finding on the bridge. You guys can get stuff done a lot
Lot
quicker,
quicker than-
cheaper than.
Do you do course? Does Eagle Rock do course? Or do you sub that out?
No, we have to sub it out.
Or do you
We
sub
don't
it
have,
out?
we don't have a core machine.
Why not?
I guess new investment.
That's- Yeah,
Need more parking
I'd have
spaces?
to sub it out too. I don't have a way to do it ourselves.
Before we put the cost, if anybody puts the cost of the mat, it just seems like it'd be wise to know for sure.
Yeah, we made them do that up
That
at
we got.
where they let it sit unfinished so long. And, you know, we found out the core was deficient because.
Sounds pretty cheap. And then we would know that your investment would be protected, you know.
The roadways really do need traffic, but
It has a small amount of traffic and
that keeps it in good shape.
it keeps it used.
But it still requires that,
It's not like Camilla. Where.
Still
you
needs
know,
maintenance.
Yeah.
You know, whether you have 3,000 cars a day or 50 cars a day, you still need to do the 7-year, 6 or 7-year chip seal.
Good at keeping up on that.
Or, yeah, yep.
I think you're right, Roger. If the county can do the core, and know what we've got, unless you guys can get it done quicker and then
We'll make some calls and maybe
send
we'll
us
just
the
coordinate
bill,
with
I
Plat
guess.
and just see if
Well, if they're not
Plat
gonna,
can get quicker than us or we can get quicker.
if you're not gonna bring a construction material, it's not a matter of quick, it's a matter of getting it
When you start building it. and
Yeah,
everything.
that's true. Yeah, that's true.
yeah,
So we've got time.
yeah, we
Yeah, we
probably
have time.
anticipate. I don't know what you talk about construction. Because how quick do you open that up? Because you're gonna have all the suppliers in there with. You guys build and sell, you don't sell lots, do you?
Yeah, build that, so.
So you've got control of where they come in. You probably wouldn't need that open for the public till you started selling the homes.
Yeah.
So we'll leave it closed then temporarily, right? So
Yeah, I guess until we get the,
so you're ready to start selling,
until we get the overlay on.
building.
Yes.
Yeah,
that'd be what-
definitely.
So if we want to get the
Well, until
overlay
you
on
get the
sooner,
overlay on and start getting houses sold in there, because otherwise you'll have the construction traffic
Yeah.
through there.
I think it'd be good just to go ahead and use Da Vinci and then this other,
yeah, we might
Get
just
this
have to
road
push
done
that
and-
one up a little bit.
be able to bring pipe and stuff in.
Gotta
off
be
of
good.
those.
Yeah, I agree.
So we're, what, a week to 2 weeks for to start putting sewer in.
He's got everything sitting on site or. Yeah.
We're just waiting for DQ.
We've got that meeting starting 11:30, just so you're aware.
As far as the improvements on 65th, we're gonna have to wait for I'm guessing we're gonna need acceleration lane and deceleration lane on those.
Do you recall what we had there, Angel,
Oh, for decel outside,
on 65th South?
the traffic impact study does cover decel or acceleration lines. The purely empirical analysis just shows. Curves and warrants the upper acceleration or decel lines.
Because that's one of the things, when you're talking about safety on these roads, we get so many of them. Had we had the policies we do now, when you guys started, we wouldn't be paying to fix up 45th. But you guys would
Yeah,
have
we
already,
moved off.
you've already built it.
45th.
See, and that's what we're trying to avoid, because bids we're getting for those 3 miles with all the pipe, utilities and everything.
I'm pretty sure though, when we hit 15th West, we'll have a left, right coming in.
Yeah, for sure. We do have turn lane warrants for 65th going into development. So those, would show where a decel lane into development would be. As for acceleration outside of, it would really just benefit everyone for safety, from a safety standard. It's not really a warrant kind of thing. It's mostly a safety thing.
The acceleration.
Acceleration line.
They've kind of done those, I think, what they did Brookside in their behind KJs. Where they build it out, but then it becomes a 3-lane with a turn lane in.
That's what we'll have out here.
That
And
does help.
I'm sure we'll have some on 65th too.
I don't recall a whole lot of stuff being shown in the traffic studies that I've reviewed dealing with 65th, except at the intersections.
And see,
The traffic studies follow the BMPO access management plan. So, it's really limited to what that access management plan, because companies we use, guys can, get off a wish list of what you want, but it'll be different every time.
well, the frustration I think Lance has had is, the city will put those, like Providence Point, and he never sees them. And we just said, oh, we'll take care of building it. Then I get angry phone calls from Dean Mortimer. Saying, why are you requiring this? I said, Dean, we haven't seen those. We've got to provide for the safety.
It's still going on. He's still.
I try to keep Lance involved. I just-
Yeah, you're doing that one too.
Yeah, Lance, I don't know if you've got my email.
says it's all my fault. I said, it's always my fault.
Probably the engineer, but don't you work for him?
Butler.
It hurts. The
It's his fault.
So I think I saw it, but I haven't.
So what Kurt said.
It might be the
No, but
15th.
I can see us doing turn lanes here.
So
I-
how about you send
we
me
want
the
to-
latest
Really,
revision?
you want safety.
Yeah,
You really
but-
want that because it's gonna help us sell houses.
Yeah, and I
People
know
aren't in
that,
these
I know that
bottlenecks trying to
Paul,
get it
yeah,
done.
you know, if this requires turn lanes, which I'm sure it will, you'll see turn lanes, so.
Okay, well, okay, so we know where we're going then.
Thank you.
Yeah, we can't, there's no way I would want to design anything that's not safe for the public,
If
so.
you'll let me know who you find to do a corner or whatever. Yeah.
We actually might have a drill.
Thanks, Commissioners.
Thank you.
You don't have any water.
Yeah, we've got
Well,
10
I-
minutes.
I think if we're
What they'll do is the recorder's office.
We thought that- yeah,
Really,
this would be more of an
yeah,
argument.
all that is,
Auto discussion, so.
It's all the platform and then like that. You get lever.
We've got like 10 minutes. What else have you got? Thank you.
They go up to, they had to get reported to.
We got more.
Yeah, we've got,
We did a traffic study out on West Broadway. I
Oh,
just
okay.
wanted to get updates on that. So weekday, average daily traffic was 500 cars. Weekend was 264 cars. A total over the week count was 436 cars a day.
Yeah.
Out of that, 9% or 37 was trucks. The 85th percentile speed was 51.8 miles an hour. So 50 mile an hour posted speed limit is appropriate. The pace speed was 40.6 miles an hour to 50.5 miles an hour. So again, the 50 mile an hour posted speed limit is appropriate for what people are doing now.
well, it's appropriate for what, it matches what people are doing.
It
Is it
matches.
appropriate for the safety of the road though?
So based on the national standards, it is. Because the national standards, again, though, that 85th percentile goes off of 85% of people considering that a reasonable and prudent speed.
Huh. I'm surprised we determine what's appropriate by how fast people want to drive.
That
That
is
doesn't
the
quite make
national
sense to me.
standard, yeah, and it's a hard thing to explain to people, because I
Well, if you lowered that to 40, aren't they naturally gonna look at that and it slows it down a
No.
little bit?
national standards have shown that if you post it at 40, people are comfortable going with 51, they will continue to go 51. And then you'll have more non-compliance.
That doesn't make sense to me. You would think that people would drive the speed limit, not what's comfortable to drive. Well, I mean, the majority of people.
No. It is shown time and time again.
It's all those people on the west side, they never follow the rules. of-
Well, it's comfortable for me to drive 70 miles an hour down those Osgood roads, but I try not to do it because the speed limit's
But
50.
because the speed limit is 50. And that's where you get some of these outliers in here of people going 70 miles an hour on a 50 mile an hour posted road because they feel comfortable doing so.
Yeah, that's, I do. Huh? So there would be no
Not
reason,
according
even,
to this.
even around the corner where the houses are.
Even around the corner, so the speed study tries to gather free flowing speed. We can't put it on a corner because it hampers what reasonable and prudent speed is.
Okay.
And so what we could do is if it was a sharp curve, we could put a sharp curve ahead or put a warning sign, but it's not a regulatory sign. It's a
Okay.
warning sign.
Right. Well, I appreciate you doing it. I'm sure that guy's gonna call me back. He said that he would.
So Kathy Vernon called me again, and I did go through this with her and
Okay.
she said she was gonna email me and I was gonna get this to her, but she hasn't done it yet. But if she does email me, I will send her a copy of the traffic study.
It does kind of show that people aren't speeding, aren't going over the speed limit like
Right.
they were saying they were.
Right. So, yeah, it's probably more, but when I talked to Kathy, again, it's about 500 cars. She said, oh, wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
It's like, well, Lincoln Road, before we did it, was approaching 20,000 cars a day.
Yeah.
So it's relative. 500 cars a day is not a lot of traffic for an arterial road.
Well, and I talked to Devin and he said he would work harder at getting the construction workers to go around, and come off the other road. So hopefully that reduced it. I don't know.
And hopefully he's still working on the design of that intersection because I haven't seen anything for a while.
Which road?
65th West and South or West Broadway.
He's got a lot of irons in the fire.
Yes,
right
he
now.
does. I know he's been focused more on this one over
Like
by
Hammond's,
staff.
Yeah. What's that?
it's like Hammond's put a damper on the fire.
On some of them. Yeah, I'm right.
No more building permits.
Yeah.
At all.
Maybe more sewer.
That's interesting.
The developers didn't pre-purchase. At least that's the email they sent out, right, to the contractors, to the developers.
Would
Might
you
have just
leave a
been
copy
the-
of that with Caleb?
Yes, I could do that.
Thank you. Are we gonna be online for the BAT meeting? No.
Yeah.